In today's episode, we will go through nerve questions. The approach with this is that I will go through my thinking process, how I would structure my answer, and then we'll see how it lines up with the mark scheme, and I'll explain that as well. So, let us begin. Right, okay. Looking at this, I can see there's lots of information. As the questions on the next page, I'll go there, and I'm not going to read anything. I am just going to read the question first, and from that assess whether I should read anything else. So, it says, use the information in figure 2.2 to suggest why naked mole rats do not feel pain when exposed to acid. Okay, do you know anything about naked mole rats? Because I don't. Thus, we need to read the information. Okay, let's first understand what's going on with the figure, because it's always important to not only understand the table, the graph, the figure, whatever, as there's a reason why they put that there. They want you to use it. So, let's read. What does it say? It says, figure 2.2 shows a representation of the ion channels present in the pain receptor of naked mole rats and other mammals. Okay, so this is for the naked mole rat, this is for other mammals. When you have a figure like this, the answer is most probably going to be essentially like the differences between them. But again, I haven't read it completely, so let's try and see. Okay, so looking here, it says acid sensing sodium ion channel. This channel opens in the presence of H plus ions. Okay, this one is also the same, so there's no difference there. So I'm guessing it's going to be for those two boxes. Okay, what does it say? Voltage gated sodium ion channel. This channel is prevented from opening by the presence of H plus ions. But this one says that voltage gated sodium ion channel. This channel is not affected by H plus ions. Okay, so this one is affected, and this one is not affected. So that's very important to realise. Okay, let's read the question again. So use the information, yeah, whatever, to suggest. So there is no, we can't find a concrete answer because we don't know. We haven't studied this in depth. So that's why suggest is used here. Because you're making, your answer's kind of an interpretation of the figure. So suggest why naked mole rats do not feel pain when exposed to acid. Okay, let's begin. H plus ions. What are H plus ions synonymous with? Acid. Acidity, H plus ions, yes, make that connection. Right, so, if they do not feel pain, right, when exposed to H plus ions, think to yourself, what is this box actually trying to say? It's saying that the channel can't open if there's H plus ions, so then, does that not mean there'll be, no sodium ion channels open? Or, I guess you can say fewer voltage gated sodium ion channels opening, because if there are H plus ions, then it will close, right? And then if there are fewer voltage gated sodium ion channels open, then wouldn't that mean that there'll be less depolarization because there's fewer sodium ions moving in? So then, if that's the case, then there won't be an action potential. And that's my answer. Notice how, just from understanding that this is about an acid and making that connection with H plus ions, I just made a whole string of answers based on the content, of course, of nerves and action potentials, but it's all about linking. This is purely an application-y sort of question. I hope you understand how I got from start to finish. So allow me to write my answer. Okay. Remember, with this topic, it's actually quite a neat and tight topic. because your answers will essentially kind of follow the same format of, oh, this thing happens, or this thing doesn't happen, so this doesn't happen, so that doesn't happen. That is a very, very, very common like mark scheme sort of answer. As you do more questions on nerves, you will realize what I'm trying to say. You always talk about like, oh, depolarization, action potential, the chat like either channels open or close, and depending on whether it is open or closed, that says whether depolarization or the action potential happens or not. So write that down as your little like mark scheme exam technique note your wherever you write your notes. Okay. I am pretty satisfied with that answer. It is 2 marks, and I'm assuming I've written 3 points. But let us check over here. Okay, what does it say? It says no action potentials. Yes, we got that point. Because if there are no channels open, no action potential can occur. Because there is like no / less depolarization, which we got here. Great, so that's already 2 marks. But we are smart people and we like to learn more information. This is also something I said about there'll be like no / fewer voltage gated sodium channels open due to the presence of H plus ions. And then this is a point that I did not say. I guess that's actually quite a neat point of saying, oh yeah, no action potential along the sensory neurons. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like a very, very common answer in the mark scheme, but next time I would write that down and you should too. So let's go to the next question. Easy, 1 marker, nice. So explain how a pain receptor is an example of a transducer. Remember, whenever a transducer is mentioned in an exam question, you define it. You define the term, but rather than saying, yeah, it converts one like form of energy to another, you change it. You make it more specific. You say what form of energy is going to what. So, if this is a pain receptor, then and we have ions involved, so that's chemical, and then you're producing like an action potential, so that's electrical, so that's your answer. It converts. Okay, I'm satisfied with that answer. Let's check. See how it didn't say like in general terms what transducer is. It was linking to the fact that it was talking about pain receptor. So always identify what form of energy is going to what. So we got that. That's great. Okay. So now it's your go. Try some questions and let me know how it goes.